Good morning, students. Today in English literature, we shall do the remaining question answers and book filling of lesson 10. Topic of the lesson is the Great Stone Face. So as you all have seen that we have done some question answers, and today I will explain you the remaining question answers. So question number 5 is, who by the common consent turned out to be like the Great Stone Face. So the meaning of consent is agreement. So by the common agreement, who turned out to be like the Great Stone Face? Answer is, by common consent, Ernest turned out to be like the Great Stone Face. So by the common agreement, they believe that Ernest was the Great Stone Face. Question number 6 is, did Ernest believe that the old prophecy had come true? What did he say about it? So Ernest has heard about a prophecy in his childhood. Did he believe that the prophecy had come true, and what did he say about it? Let's see the answer. No, Ernest still was not convinced that the old prophecy had come true. He hoped that someday a man wiser and nobler than him would come and would look truly similar to the Great Stone Face. So at the end, when all people were thinking that Ernest resembles the stone face, that Ernest was the stone face, Ernest still was not convinced that the prophecy had come true, because he hoped that someday a man who will be wiser and nobler than Ernest would come and would truly similar to the Great Stone Face. Now let's see the exercise. In reference to the lesson, the stone face, write meaning of the given words or phrases. So we have to write the meanings of the given words or phrases in reference to the lesson. First one is going down. It is referring to sun. So the meaning will be setting. Second one is brightening. Meaning will be lending a special glow. Means coming of a special glow. Third one, spacious. It means big and wide. Fourth one, prophecy. It means prediction. Fifth one, marvelous. It means wonderful. Sixth one, proclaim. It means announce and declare also. Seventh one, seize. It means stop. Eighth one, a night's shelter. It means stay. Ninth one, gazed. It means stared at. Means looking at a thing continuously. 10th one is took on. That is an expression and it means assumed. So these are the words or phrases from the lesson, and we have done the meanings. Now let's do the book filling of this lesson. Now open page number 132 in your books and see the comprehension check. It is written, write true or false against each of the following statements. So the first statement is, Ernest's words reminded people of the wise old saying. That is true, because Ernest's nobler words reminded people about the old prophecy. Second one is, total strangers from far away who visited Ernest in the valley found his face familiar. That is also true, because when the strangers from far away in the valley they visited Ernest, they found that Ernest's face is familiar to them. Third one is, the Great Stone Face confirmed Ernest's view that the poet could be worthy of its likeness. That is false, because the Great Stone Face has not confirmed that the poet could be worthy of its likeness. Fourth one is, when Ernest and the poet met, they respected and admired each other equally. That is true, because when they met, their equation was very good. Fifth one is, the poet along with Ernest addressed the inhabitants of the valley. That is false, because only Ernest addressed the inhabitants of the valley and the poet was watching him. Sixth one is, the poet realized that Ernest's thoughts were far nobler than his own verses. That is true, because the poet himself realized that Ernest's thoughts were far nobler than his own verses, than his own songs and poems. Now open page number 133 and see question number 5. It is written, write Ernest or poet against each statement below. So some statements are given below and they are related to the lesson only. We have to write Ernest or poet, that the statement belongs to Ernest or the poet. The first one is, there was a gap between his life and his words. That belongs to the poet, because there was a gap between his life and words of the poet only. Second one is, his words had the power of truth as they agreed with his thoughts. So the statement belongs to Ernest, because Ernest's Nobler words had the power of truth and they were agreed with his thoughts also. Third one is his words were as soothing as a heavenly song but only as useful as a vague dream. So that belongs to poet only, because poets words were as soothing as a heavenly song. Fourth one is his thoughts were worthy. So again it belongs to the poet. Fifth one is whatever he said was truth itself. So that is earnest, because whatever Ernest said was truth itself. Sixth one is his poems were noble. So obviously if it is given poems, so the statement belongs to the poet only. Seventh one is his life was nobler than all the poems. That is earnest, because Ernest's life was nobler than all the poems of the poet. Next one is he lacked faith in his own thoughts. So that is the poet, because the poet has lacked faith in his own thoughts. Next one is his thoughts had power as they agreed with the life he lived. So that belongs to Ernest, because Ernest's thoughts had power and they agreed with the life what Ernest has lived. Last one is greatness lies in truth. Truth is best expressed in one's actions. He was truthful, therefore he was great. So that belongs to Ernest, because Ernest's greatness lies in his truth and his truth was best expressed in his actions and he was truthful and therefore he was great. Now see, working with the language. So this exercise we have already done in the copy also. I have explained there. You have to fill it in the book as well. Second exercise is read the following sentences. I do hope I will live to see him. Second one, he will come, fear not, Ernest, the man will come. Third one, Gathergold is arriving tomorrow, people said. Next one, Blood and Thunder starts his journey back to the valley next week, everyone proclaim. And the last one, the great man is going to spend his old age in his native town. Notice that in the above sentences, verbs in bold type are in 4 different forms, denoting 4 important ways of expressing future time. None of these can be said to be exclusively used to show future time, though each is used to refer to some action in future. So basically none of these verbs are exclusively used to show future. They are referring the actions that will happen in future. So related to that only, an exercise is given, that is which form of the verb is more natural in these sentences. Encircle your choice. So options are given, we have to circle the correct verb. First one is I am not free this evening. I will work on a project. I am working on a project. I am not free because I am working on a project. Second sentence is have you decided where you will go for your higher secondary? Yes, I have. I will go to the Kendriya Vidyalaya. I am going to the Kendriya Vidyalaya. So that is a plan about future. Here suitable verb will be I will go to the Kendriya Vidyalaya. Third sentence is don't worry about the dog. It won't hurt you. It isn't hurting you. So that is referring to the action that will not happen in future. So that means it will be it would not hurt you. Next one is the weatherman has predicted that it will snow in Ranikhet tonight. It is snowing in Ranikhet tonight. So that is a prediction. That means it will happen in future. So more suitable verb will be that it will snow in Ranikhet tonight. Next one is Swapna can't go out this evening. Her father will come to see her. Her father is coming to see her. So the suitable verb is her father is coming to see her. So basically here we have used the verbs that is will and going to. So there is a very small difference between will and going to. They both refer to future only, but when something we will do earlier, so that time we use going to, and something which we will do afterwards, then we use will. Like I have to sing right now, so I will say I am going to sing. And if I have to sing after some time, so I will say I will sing only. And that's how we can use will and going to. Third exercise is complete these pieces of conversation using will or going to with the verbs given. So some verbs are given here in the brackets. We have to use will or going to with the verbs. This is a conversation between two person, that is Rani and Ravi. Rani said, "Why are you turning on the radio?" Ravi, "I am going to listen to the news." That means now he is going to listen to the news. Then Rani said, "Oh, I can't buy this book. I have no money." So Ravi said, "Don't worry, I will lend you some." That means in future, after some time, he will lend money to Rani. Next, Rani, "Look at those dark clouds." Ravi, "I think it is going to rain." I think it will rain. The same thing is there. It is going to rain. Next, Rani, "What shall we have for dinner?" Ravi, "I can't decide." Then Rani said, "Make up your mind." And Ravi said, "All right, then we will have fried rice and dry beans." Then Rani said, "Why are you filling the kettle with water?" Ravi said, "I am going to make coffee." Rani, "We need some bread and butter for breakfast." Ravi said, "All right, I will go to the bakery and get some bread." Before he goes out, Ravi talks to their father. "Ravi, I am going to get some bread and butter. Do you want anything from the bakery?" Father, "Yes, I want some salt biscuits." And Ravi said, "Fine, I will get you a packet." So according to the need, we have used going to and will in the given conversation. Now see exercise 2. On page number 136, underline the letter or letters representing F sound in each of the following words. So we have to underline the letter or letters that is representing F sound. So here file, F will be there, slough, GH, faint, again F, lift, then F, cuff. GH sound is the sound of F. Then defense, F, afford, F, enough, again GH is the sound of F, enough. Photograph, again PH is the sound of F, then staff, double F will be tough, again GH is the sound of F, so it will be tough. Aloof, again F. Affront, again F. Philosophy, again PH is the sound of fo, so it will be philosophy. Sophistry, again PH. Now let's see exercise 3. Imagine that you are the poet. You have come to your native valley to meet a famous preacher called Ernest. Narrate the incident of your first meeting with him. So here sentences are given and we have to unscramble the sentences to make the correct sentence, and then we have to write a paragraph with these sentences. So the first one will be, George Abraham, a resident of Noida near Delhi, is visually impaired. Second one is, it provides confidence and competitive spirit and infuses discipline among the participants. Third one is, the brain behind the World Cup cricket. He has helped the disabled to dream. Next is, it was a chance visit to the blind school in Delhi that changed his life. And the last one is, he believes that sport is a powerful tool for rehabilitation of the disabled. Now we have to rearrange the sentences to make a paragraph. So it will be, George Abraham, a resident of Noida near Delhi, is visually impaired. So in the paragraph, the main character is George Abraham, who is a resident of Noida near Delhi, and he is visually impaired. The brain behind the World Cup cricket, he has helped the disabled to dream, and he is the brain behind the World Cup cricket, and he has helped the disabled to dream also. It was a chance visit to the blind school in Delhi that changed his life. So when he visited the blind school in Delhi, his life completely changed. He believes that sport is a powerful tool for rehabilitation of the disabled, and it is his strong belief that sport is a powerful tool that for the rehabilitation of the disabled. It provides confidence and competitive spirit and infuses discipline among the participants. So as the sport provides confidence and competitive spirits, and it also infuses discipline in the participants as well. So these were the exercises which you have to fill in your books. I think everything is clear to all of you. Thank you.